Hi, my name is Tyler. I was born in 1957, and I am doing CrossFit. And at 65 years old, I have always been um, a person that liked to work out, that liked to stay in shape, and I'm not very good at sitting. And so over the years, I did all different sports in high school, played in college, did a lot of different workouts, and they were all kind of the same. And after 40 years of doing the same workouts, you need a little something different. And we had heard about CrossFit, and it was different. It's younger people. It's everybody thinks it's really hard, and you have to kill yourself. But we wanted to see what it was like, and my wife and I are like two peas in a pod, so we enjoy doing those types of things. And that's kind of we were there and we were looking, and rather than working out by yourself or the two of us going to the gym and trying to find the motivation, when you're working and you've got children and grandchildren and everything else is going on, it's hard to find the motivation to do the same thing all the time. So having someone that will actually help you and or do the workouts for you, and it makes it a little more fun. And it's also fun to work out as a group. And if you're from the athletic side that had team sports, it's also, you might be a little older, but you still want to be a little bit competitive. Not that you're going to compete with the young people or anything else, but you want to compete with yourself and just say, can I still do this? So I think that's probably how we got started. It was about 4 years ago, and we met with a nice group, and they were all young and kind of sassy. So I'm sure that there was a lot of questions when this older couple walked in, but it's been very fun, and I enjoy it. And we've been coming 5-6 days a week. It's groups. It's having individual instruction. It's watching. And as far as the motivation and things like that, as you get older in life and you talk to your friends, and you have friends that don't do anything, what's really interesting is my friends that are all on Medicare or older, those that have stopped doing all kinds of things, or exercising, or pushing themselves, or just trying to stay in shape. And by that I'm saying just a little bit more than being active, to exercise and to work themselves. They're all happy and enjoying life. And those people that have started to slow down and don't want to do anything, and they're there, they might be happy, but when it comes to doing things, they can't do the things they want to do anymore, or they're complaining about being tired, or they're saying, oh, I wish I was skinny. Oh, well, I just don't have the energy. Oh, well, I don't, and I can't do this. And it's really sometimes it's hard to hang around people that say they can't do things all the time. So it's better to be around the positive people that are there. So I think that's part of the reason, that self-motivation. And then having younger people that are active, and it's kind of fun to say, hey, my parents couldn't do this. Well, that kind of gives you a little motivation to kind of try to do a little bit more, or to do a little bit, have a little bit more fun. And it's kind of fun to say, hey, maybe, it's kind of fun to tease the guys and say, hey, where are you going to be in 2055 when you're my age?
Yeah.
Say, here, this is, how do you get there? So
Yeah.
there's a little fun to that. I think the other difference is too, and I think it's very interesting for the young people, it's watching their stamina and what they do, because, we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have Atari, or games or video games or things like that. We played outside all day long, and we would run, we would play. It was nonstop. So we were always, we were on the go all the time. And it's interesting watching some of the younger people when they start, how they have no stamina or doing it, when you'd think, oh my gosh, you're 40 years younger than I am, and you can't, to get through this. So, it serves a purpose. There is a community, and the older people can add a little something to the younger generation. The younger generation adds the energy and the vigor, and it's pretty impressive sometimes to watch someone that you didn't think could do something lift a lot of weight and feel the floor bounce when they drop it. Well, Maria she had played an individual sport. She was a tennis player, and I had played team sports, and I'd done that. So it was interesting, and I'd always, kind of worked out, or I was always playing in a basketball league or baseball or basketball, or just different things. And so moving over, I wanted to see how it was, and coming from a place where you worked out or exercised and things like that, I probably wasn't it took me a little while to get used to the program to say, here, there are different movements, or, I'm doing different things. And I never thought of carrying kettlebells, 100 yards, or pushing, sleds, or doing things like that. So it broke it up, and it made it more interesting. And it was kind of fun, just seeing kind of what you could do at a certain age, and then wishing, I've told Maria a few different times, I would have loved to have seen, what it would be like when we were 30 years old, how fun it would be just to see what you could do. I think that a couple of the things, going back and thinking about it over the last 4 years on, what have you learned? What makes me tick? What goes on with my psyche? And I think some of the things are, you do become a little more sheltered. I've learned that if I'm working out hard enough, all the other things in my mind, they have to go, because I can't talk and work out. I'm not working hard enough, or I'm not concentrating on my form, or I'm not doing anything else like that. I think I've learned that. I've also learned that I was an extremely competitive person, and it's taught me how to modify, do different things. It was hard to just watch people do things and not try to compete or overdo and say, hey, I'm going to hold myself back, and work yourself into it. And it's extremely fun to say, hey, I've learned that you don't have to go out and set a record in the beginning. I think some people are always worried about, I've got to be first. I've got to do this. I've got to lift this weight. And it's not like that. Better to set some goals. I think what I've learned too is make realistic goals and attain them. And sometimes it's better to go up 5 pounds for 2 months and continue to have successes than it is to try to say, I've worked my butt off and I'm getting nowhere. Because, well, what are you going to do? You can't work out faster. You can't work out harder. You have to, and you put in the price, and there's a certain sense of satisfaction that comes from saying, I did this. And I have never finished a workout. I think what I've learned and said, I wish I hadn't done it, or whatever. I'm always happier. I'm always thankful that I got something done and I had the workout and I accomplished it, because there are days that are going to be good days when you feel great. There are days that you're not. You learn how to get through that, just like everything else. But I'm never unhappy when I'm finished.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And it's to temper yourself, and it's managing your expectations. You can't come in and say, I'm going to do this. I have, let's say I was competitive enough that I'm probably one of the few people in the gym that's on Medicare and will have a couple of artificial joints, and I don't want to have frozen joints, and I don't want to get, I just want to be able to do things and last as long as I can, and go up and down the stairs, or get up and down and play with my grandchildren, or do whatever. And I don't want to be limited because I didn't do anything, and I don't want to sit back and say, if only I'd done this, or I should have done this. And I don't want to look back and have any regrets like that. Don't be afraid to start and throw your ego out of the picture, because everybody has to start somewhere. And when you come in, you can't do the exercises, and you're going to feel absolutely, totally uncomfortable when you do exercises you can't. When when you can't lift your legs up or you can't get up off the ground like everybody else, you learn. But then you have the little victories, and then you get up where, oh, you can't do all I can, I can barely hang. And then all of a sudden, hey, now I can do pull-ups, or now I can do ring pulls, or now I can do toes to bar, or I can do this. It takes a couple of years, to do that. And that's why I think you have to really temper your expectations, and don't be afraid to talk to the older people, or, and engage. And, the other hard part is don't listen, or don't look on the phone and see what everybody else is doing. Look at, worry about yourself, let the coaches come in, be in the community, and don't be afraid to talk to people and watch people and watch how they work. I mean, that's the other thing too. You can pick up a lot by watching, by listening, and have a smile on your face and enjoy it. It's as if people could just listen to all the jokes and the comments that go on during class. So don't be afraid to come out, and you will be shy at first. You will be there, but I don't know of anybody that hasn't come that isn't happier, that isn't making success, that feels better, and those that stick with it. The other piece of advice I'd give is, when you start, it may take you longer than someone else to get over the hump. And there's a certain point where people want to quit because they don't see anything, and they're so close to the verge of passing through to get to the point where the gains come from, or the successes come from, and then they just want to give up. And you have to once you get through that period of time, and the other thing I'll say is getting older too, maybe that first 5 minutes isn't it takes a while to warm up an older body. So, again, manage your expectations and set targets, and talk to the coaches. There's a good staff here that will help you, but not if you don't engage them.